Hello and welcome back to the Big Scuba podcast. My name is Ian and with me is...
My name is Gemma. Welcome to the Big Scuba podcast.
So today, this episode will be slightly different. We're recording outside for starters because it's a lovely day and why not?
Why not?
Why not? And
our outdoor studio.
Yeah, so we're visual and we are also audio. How about that? The power of sound and the power of stereo. So coming up on this episode, we're going to talk to you about our recent trip to the Farne Islands, our experience, and also what we've done. And talk about a bit about that, where to stay, where to go get some food, and also we should also mention about what is this podcast all about?
Well, this podcast, we talk to scuba divers, we talk to people connected to the watery world. So it's not just people that dive, it's people that use diving as their career, their hobby. It's been a worldwide thing, hasn't it?
Yeah. And so we particularly love people who use diving maybe for work or just for fun, things like that, because you never know where diving's going to go. So if you've got a story, get in contact. We're taking a short little holiday, aren't we, at the minute?
At the moment, yeah. Back in September.
In August, school holidays, stuff like that. So we're hoping to get some dives in during August, and then we're back recording around the microphones properly from September onwards.
Yes, yeah. So if you've got any recommendations for people to talk to bring onto the podcast, send them our way. We've spoken to people that have been astronauts, sculptors, so anything. Even if you think it's a bit random, just drop us a message and we'll have a look into it.
Yeah. Should also mention, before we get too far into this interview, that we are sponsored by Narc 90. They are beyond technical.
They are. So look up narc90.com. You can find them on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right, so let's cover our...
Let's talk about the farms.
Yeah, so this time last week we were mid-dive probably.
We were, yeah.
But we travelled up to Seahouses, which is in the northeast of the UK, on last Thursday.
Yeah, beautiful part of the world. It's a mecca for many divers of the UK and also from people abroad. And if you haven't been to the Farne Islands, look at Seahouses. That's the harbour, and there's a few people who do organise trips. Who do go out from Seahouses to the farms, and get yourself on there. It's also great for bird watching and all sorts of things.
Dolphin watching at the moment as well. Andrew, who runs Sovereign Diving, Farne Islands, he has the Serenity boats. He's always on social media, on Instagram, and he's been very lucky recently.
One to follow.
Yeah, with sightings of minke whales and some dolphins quite recently. We were lucky to see.
Yeah, you saw dolphins, didn't you?
Yeah. So, and Seahouses is a typical coastal town. It's got a bustling harbour, fishing, lots of lobsters, I think, lobster potting they do there.
Yeah.
And then there's quite a few boats that just take day trippers out over to the islands for sort of bird watching. I think they can go on the islands now, can't they?
Yeah.
Now all the bird flu is over. But yeah, it's certainly a thriving place. Lots of shops.
I've been going for several years, not missed a year. I absolutely love it. You've been going for what, 5 years? 4 years? 5 years?
This was the 4th year, I think. Yeah.
And this year, a new diver on the boat was my daughter Honey. So, and that was her first year, and absolutely loved it. And it is you can get depth if you want to go around and get some good depth, like 20 plus metres, 30 metres, even deeper. There's so many wrecks around them rocks. I think the oldest one that's known is like over 1,000 years old, and there's so many like wartime wrecks as well. All sort of littered around. I think that last time I checked, there was like about 270
it's a lot, isn't
odd
it?
known wrecks that are all dotted around those rocks. And then you've got the wider area where there's even more.
Yeah.
And we dived some of them this time. So we went up, let's talk about the actual trip. So
Went up Thursday.
Went up Thursday and loaded up the truck.
We did. So we're talking a Raptor Ford truck.
Yeah, so I've got a Ford Raptor, and we took that first time on a road trip with it, and loaded it up, and that was loaded up to the rafters to the point where we even had a load box on the back of it, just for all your clothes and things, really, didn't we?
Yeah.
The back was just dive kit. Me, I just had, I had a
clothes you
shoe
stand
box
up
for my clothes, no bigger than that, really. Honey had something maybe a little bit bigger, and then the rest of the truck was just all your stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, but
I thought about packing lightly.
I always pack lightly and very organised.
Kitchen sink and everything. Next time, be trailer.
But it all went in well,
It
didn't
did. It did. It was all packed in, and we did I think just under 900 miles over the whole weekend, and because we went to Edinburgh as well, which we'll come to, and the truck did 26 miles to the gallon. So considering it was all loaded up, quite a lot of gear, not too bad really.
No, I don't think it's too bad.
That's okay.
No,
Yeah.
it's and there was obviously the box on the
And
back.
comfortable, really comfortable.
Yeah, very comfy.
It's got a wide ass. Can I say that? It's got a wide ass.
It ate the miles up, didn't it?
Yeah, which is great. I always get excited when I look at it.
Yeah, it's nice to drive.
It is. It is.
Yeah,
But anyway, it's not about the truck. Let's talk about the trip. So we went up Thursday. We met the rest of the gang, all from Crystal Sea Scuba. So hello to them, and thanks to Polly again for organising the trip. If you want to find Crystal Sea Scuba, look up scubaforme.co.uk, and it's a trip that they organise every year.
Yeah, and next year they're doing 2 trips as well, aren't they? So and they have a UK dive trips and abroad holidays.
They do. So we met up with them Thursday night in Bamburgh Castle, which is the name of a pub they got there, a nice big pub.
Yeah, it's great fish and chips.
Yeah, good food, and it's you don't need a book and you can just go in.
Yeah, so that was our Thursday.
Yeah.
And then Polly organises what time we need to meet the boat in the morning. So that was quite an early start, wasn't it? The boat wanted to be loaded and ready to leave by 8. So we just had to get down there.
Early breakfast. So we stayed at a fantastic B&B. If you are looking for somewhere where to stay, Google Malabar.
That's it. And it's run by Maura and her husband Brian, and they are just 110% plus.
I can't, sandwiches for diving during the day, and
Cooked breakfast if you want
breakfasts, great food. Place is spotless.
Yeah.
Gardens, immaculately landscaped, and very good for divers, because you can go diving, take your dry suits back, and you can just wash kit down, hang it up, and you go out for the day, the afternoon and evening, come back, and Maura will hang the suits up for you.
She is amazing.
She goes so far above and beyond the core due.
And you get cake in your room, don't you, as well? Plenty of tea and coffee, toiletries in the bathroom. So honestly, it's just like home from home, really. Yeah. So,
actually, it's better because I have to make my own breakfast and tea. And I only get sandwiches when I go out. So no, it's actually better. I think I might phone her up and see if I can move in.
She'll go, no.
I think she would, actually. I think she said, no.
No, we have lots of fun with Maura.
There's so much we can take.
A few days is enough. Yeah. So, and she is just, such a friendly, likeable person.
Cheers.
And always got a joke and
Brian,
makes us laugh.
Yeah.
So that was where we stayed.
Yeah.
So yes, Friday was the first day of diving. So load up on the boats.
Yeah.
So we have to put tanks on, all the kit on.
Everything all goes on.
And get our dry suits halfway up.
12 on the boat, plus the skipper, Skipper Ron, who He is brilliant, I have to say. Really looks after us.
He is a diver as well, so he
yes.
knows this area like the back of his hand.
He does. He knows those dives really well, and we did some great dives over the course of the weekend. And how he describes and gives you the the lowdown of what the dives are. Faultless, they are exactly that. When he says there's a big square rock, and at that point you turn around, honestly, there's a big square rock, and you go, oh yeah, there's a big square rock.
Yeah, it is amazing. So we steamed out to the Farne Islands, and the beauty of diving in the Farne Islands, it's only about a 30-40 minute steam out, passage out, and you can see the islands from the harbour as well, so you know exactly where you're going, and so that gives you a chance to get all your gear set up and enjoy the journey out there.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And so the first dives on the Friday, we went to the hopper and the big harcar.
Harcar?
Yeah, harcar. So if you Google the Farnes, you can Google a map. Actually, we could probably put a link in the show notes.
We could, yes.
Can we?
Yeah.
And you can actually see these places. They're basically islands and rocks. Some you can see during the day, and then some gets covered. It all depends on the tides.
There's a big tidal range. I think it's, what do we say, 8 metres?
Something like that. It's not quite as big as Lundy, but what they get on their side of the UK was on the west side, but it's still fairly hefty.
So it's very evident during the day as the tide is dropping. Yeah, you start to see the seaweed on the rocks.
Yeah.
And the seals are always a big teller because they're always on the tiny bits of rock, and then by the end of tide going out, they're quite high up.
Got to get wet.
Yeah, so that's the time scale out to the island.
Yeah, so those dives were mostly wall dives where you jump off the back of the boat. Ron takes the boat in, jump off the back of the boat. The boat's got a lift. The boat's called Moramar, yes, which is a catamaran.
Yes,
small catamaran. Yeah. And he backs in. We jump off, and then you basically do one of it's a wall dive, and you follow the rock, the wall, either on your right or your left, depending on where you're going to go.
Yeah, and Ron does a dive briefing just before everybody's ready to jump off, and then everybody.
Not rushed.
No.
Ron's really good with, particularly with new divers like my daughter. There was a couple other divers who are not all that experienced as well, and you're not rushed. You got time. And some people get off, and then he'll hold back, and then when you're ready, let him know. He'll backs in again, and
Yeah.
off you go.
It's all very organised, and the best thing is it is a relaxed atmosphere.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So that was Friday diving, and then we all got back on the boat. De-kit, put the tanks at the front of the boat, ready to offload, and then the beauty with the whole weekend is things like your BCD and your fins and your mask you can leave on the boat.
Yeah, that all stays. That's all secure. You put all that away. They got big lockers on the boat, so all that kit, bar your tanks, go into that. So that all stays in, as Gemma said, and then you just take off. If you've got a day bag with you with some bits and pieces, take that with you. And then the tanks, they really look after you, because your tanks take off, and there'll be a van in the harbour. We load them into the van, and then they go to the dives shop to be filled with air for the next dives the next day.
Yeah.
And they're brought back in the morning. So that's all took care of. You ain't got to worry about air fills and where you're going to get air fills and all that. £6 for a tank, 12 litre or 15, and it was job done.
Yeah, and the payment for the air fills we do at the end of the trip, don't we?
Yeah,
and then just that gets paid to the skipper. And then what time did we get back? The Friday, it was about 3 o'clock maybe?
Yeah, it might be a bit earlier.
Yeah, because it was quite an early start, but again, it's it is governed by tides, isn't it?
Oh, definitely, yes. Yeah, because I think couple of times, actually, we had to wait with all the other boats outside the harbour for enough water to come in.
Yeah, we did hit the bottom.
I think it was a Saturday. I think it was Saturday.
Yeah.
We had to wait a little bit. Not long.
No.
That soon fills up again.
Yeah.
And then Saturday, so they were really good dives. And then Friday night we went to the Italian restaurant.
Yeah, which again Polly organised.
Yeah, brilliant restaurant. Always looks after you. Always busy. So if you're thinking about going up there and you want to try the Italian, always book ahead because that's worth.
Does get booked up, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's worth it.
This episode is brought to you by Narked at 90, the cutting-edge pioneers in the world of diving equipment.
Meet the founders, John Routley and Brent Hudson, who have logged thousands of mixed gas dives over the past 3 decades. About 20 years ago, these experienced technical divers combined their passion for diving and engineering skills to create Narked at 90.
Whether you're new to diving and ready to take it up a notch, have a fair amount of experience, or are considering a transition into technical diving, we highly recommend Narked at 90. They're ready to advise on the best equipment and setup for your personal or commercial needs.
Narked at 90 also has extensive hands-on experience with shearwater and ratio dive computers, being the longest-serving UK service centre for these brands. They're ready to offer technical support, servicing, repairs and upgrades for all shearwater and ratio computers, past and present.
In addition to shearwater and ratio, Narked at 90 stocks and supports many other brands such as Divesoft, JJ, CCR, Hollis, Revo and Kiss Rebreathers.
The diving community is always enthusiastic about Narked at 90, and it's easy to see why. And here are a few of the reasons.
Full head servicing for rebreathers from various manufacturers.
Bespoke cable assemblies.
Advice on specific fitting requirements.
Suggestions and guidance for home builds.
Computer laser, cutting and engraving.
CNC milling and turning.
Pressure testing to simulate 400-metre dives.
So we're thrilled to partner with Narked at 90, a company that has ignited so much passion for diving and has been incredibly supportive and innovative in producing and selling dive equipment.
Visit Narked at 90 to see why they're a renowned name in diving. Stay updated on their insights and offers by following them on social media. Just search for Narked at 90 on Facebook, Twitter or Instagram and hit that follow button. And then we're on to Saturday.
Saturday, yeah, so same procedures. So go down to the harbour an hour before and get kitted up. We usually get kitted up through our dry suit up to our waist, take a bag on. Don't forget our BCDs and all that already all on board, and tanks are there. So we just load up our tanks, get tanks on, and then we get BCDs on the tanks and everything, or twin sets. Some people are on twin sets, get them all in and get them secured on the boat, ready for the off. Ready?
Yeah, and it was a bit later Saturday, wasn't it? We were at our 9 o'clock departure, so it was a bit more relaxed, and you know what the score is then, don't you?
Yeah.
So
and it takes about 40 minutes to get out there from the harbour. Depending on where you go, it might be a bit longer. If you go to St Abbs, it's literally about 5 minutes. If you go to Lundy, that's about an hour and a half. You know, it's a lot further out. But with the Farnes, it's about 45 minutes to the point where you get out to the actual middle of the Farnes themselves.
And Saturday was a little bit longer because it was a new dive site that we'd never been to before.
Never done that before.
And it was nearer Holy Island, so if you look at a map, it wasn't amongst the islands.
Dive as well.
Yeah.
And it's one I partnered up with Honey, and it's called the Corriton, SS Corriton, which was it was damaged by. It's quite a sad story. It was damaged by German planes in 1941. They tried to save the ship, but ran it aground. The ship was okay until that night. The weather changed and basically broke its back on the sandbank it was on, and broke up. The captain, he tried to save like all the valuables and stuff, and put 2 life buoys on him, and because he knew it was going to be hit and miss whether he made it. They found his body the next morning on the beach, and he's actually buried at Holy Island. There's a plaque on Holy Island about I do forget his name. If you Google SS Corrigan, it's all about this ship. And if you look, there's a picture on Wikipedia, massive, great big ship.
It was a big one, wasn't it?
Full of grain at the time. And like I say, I think it's February 1941, so just after the Battle of Britain, that sort of time in our history. And yes, it's now a great wreck. It's a shallow wreck. It's about 8 meters to the bottom, and he put a line down for us, which was basically took us to the boilers, and the boilers stand up about 4 meters. So when you drop down, me and Honey dropped down on top of the boilers, and they stand there, and they're big, they're great big, and there's bits of the ship lay about there, and the fish. There's eels actually in the holes.
Yeah, it was wildlife, wasn't it?
Yeah, loads of wildlife. Really clear. It was a great dive, particularly for new divers, especially, I guess, because it was lovely and light. It's quite a lot of sand, and it's a really lovely wreck to explore, and lots of wildlife, lobsters, crabs, anemones.
Colourful dive.
Very, it's great.
Yeah, and it's quite a contrast because a lot of the Farne diving is rocky, isn't it?
It is.
And to see a sandy bottom, quite nice.
Yeah, see a sandy bottom. So, yeah. So if you think about doing that, speak to your captain and ask him. There's another one called Gun Rock. We didn't get to do that this time. So it's all dependent on the tides.
Isn't it? Yeah, that's a very pretty dive.
They might not always be possible. Gun Rock's another one that went down, I think about a few hundred years ago.
That's got cannonballs, hasn't it?
Cannonballs and cannons. They all lay there, obviously covered over now.
But you can see the kind of images, or not the images, the actual roundness of the thing.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome to see. So that's another good one to do.
Yeah, so that was Saturday, and then again we were back in the harbour early afternoon, weren't we?
So Saturday night we went to Edinburgh. So we took Honey to Edinburgh to get her to have a look, so she could show her Edinburgh.
Go over the border.
Yeah, and so Edinburgh from Seahouses is about an hour and a half's journey. If you haven't been to Scotland, you haven't been to Edinburgh, that's worth a trip. And it's now, especially right now, it's like the main time in Edinburgh. You've got the Tattoo coming up and the Fringe.
Yeah.
So if you like your comedies and stand-up shows, it's a great time to be in Edinburgh.
Yeah, and it's easy to get to along the A1, and free parking after 6 o'clock.
Minus speed cameras.
Minus speed, a lot of them not working.
A lot of them turned off.
Tip. So, free parking in Edinburgh, and it was just buzzing, wasn't it? It was like being abroad.
Yeah, really buzzing.
Lovely, warm evening, lots of tourists about.
Yeah.
Really bustling.
It's worth having a coat with you, because we have been up there.
That's already
absolutely throwing it down, hasn't it?
The first trip we did, it was cold, and we were there in shorts, and everybody was going, what are they doing? Yeah. And then the second one, it was very wet. This is third time lucky, wasn't it?
It was really nice.
Yeah.
We found a great Italian restaurant. It was Gordon's Trattoria. Look it up if you're in Edinburgh, 231 High Street. I have to say,
best pasta,
brilliant food.
Yeah, and friendly people as well, really.
Yeah. So that was Edinburgh. That was Saturday night, and then Sunday back onto the boat. Same time as Saturday, wasn't it?
Yeah, and all out to the islands, wasn't it? Sunday. So you did the Hopper.
Yeah.
Again, and the Nyson.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. Oh, that was. I don't know. That was Saturday afternoon. So that was Nyson, which was another wreck.
Yes.
But that was a deeper wreck. That one.
So Sunday was the Hopper, and the plane was the Hopper, and the Loch Levin, which was another that had a wreck in. Yeah. Well, remnants of a wreck.
It did. Yeah. That one's a lot more broken up. That one.
Yeah.
Quite nice. In fact, so on that last one, me and Honey kept to about 5 meters. And she was absolutely fascinated because the whole floor was full of critters. All these tiny crabs and little hermit crabs and starfish. We saw sunfish.
Really pretty.
You know, and she was absolutely, she was loving it. And it was, I enjoyed it too as well. And there was a nice little bit of current as well with it. And it was great. Do you know what?
It was a great dive to end on.
I know we only done about 5 or 6 metres, but who cares? That was a great dive. And we were like, I don't know, 40 minutes in that dive, and she loved it. And the fact we only finished it really because she started getting a bit cold.
Yeah, and when she came up back onto the boat, it was like, I found treasure.
Yeah. She said to me, well, she said, didn't she, before we get in, she was thinking about doing a snorkel. Could we come up and do a snorkel for her? And I said, yeah, fine, if that's what you want to do.
And she stayed down.
And I said to her halfway through the time, do you want to go up and stay down? She said, stay down. And we did. And she'd get a torch, she was getting into the nook and crannies and look at it, and like, as soon as you shine a torch on these the hermit crabs, they're like, running. And you see them all start scurrying away because you're shining a torch out, you know, towards them. So absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, that was a good one to finish.
That was, yeah, one of the couple of some of the best dives this year actually. Yeah, really good.
Yeah, and we were really blessed with the weather. It was just perfect
lovely.
all weekend.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably one of the only trips where we haven't had to put even dry robes on, have we?
No, did take them. It's worth. I wouldn't go all the way up there without a coat because that does change. You know, you're quite north, and it's the North Sea, and storms do come in and then they go again. So it's worth. You do have to be a bit prepared. I was in my dry suit. I did feel cold a couple of times. I think Saturday it felt cold. The temperature dropped in the afternoon.
Yeah, the sea temperature is a whole different thing up north. I think it's 13, 14 degrees, whereas we're looking at the south coast at the moment. And I saw somebody in Swanage on the seabed, they were getting 19 and a half.
Yeah, that's 18 off our coast as well.
Yeah,
and some people doing some really nice dives off our coast.
Yeah, so go prepared. I mean, we took semi-dries as well as dry suits, but we stayed in dryer suits.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So other things we saw loads of birds. We saw puffins, gannets. Oh, so many. There's loads up there now. Which is really good. So they're kind of recovered.
It was so different to last year because you couldn't even hear the birds really last year.
Under the water we saw crabs, lobsters, jellyfish, loads of jellyfish, various fish. Wrasse, I saw a silver thing that looked to me, I'm pretty sure that's a haddock.
Oh yeah, haddock bass.
Yeah. Anemones, dead man's fingers, sun starfish, other various starfish. So lots of stuff. And Honey really.
Seals.
Seals, loads of seals.
Not overly.
No, they changed for some
close, were they?
It sounds like they're getting a bit more friendlier later in the year. But they're about and they're inquisitive, but they didn't grab us this time.
No.
Like, sometimes they'll pull your fins and that, but they didn't get any of that this time.
Yeah, and we did get a sighting of a couple of dolphins on that steam back in on Sunday, so that was a real bonus. Nice. Yeah.
The good thing about the Farnes, so that was kind of it really for the Farnes. The good thing about the Farnes is that you do get the afternoon. So if you go to the Farnes and say as a couple and one of you don't dive, you can do, there's something for the non-divers in the family, and then you can get together in the afternoon, which is really cool.
Yeah, and to even just wander around Seahouses, there's plenty to keep you occupied. There's plenty of castles nearby, National Trust properties, or even
there's a
jumping.
Lot to do.
Yeah, there
Go
is.
To Bedenell, which is a village just down south, from just a couple of miles south of Seahouses, and you can hire kayaks, paddleboards, all sorts of stuff. Lots of camping around the area. Lots of B&Bs, lots of Airbnbs, and there's lots of places to stay.
Yeah.
So we want to say thanks for watching, thanks for listening. This episode is brought to you by Night 90. They are beyond technical, so go there, make sure you're following them. We'll say, and thank you to them, Night 90, for sponsoring
Yes, thank you very much. And also to reminder, there's 184 episodes in our back catalogue. So if you haven't listened, or if you're just new, then there's all those to have a listen to. Yeah. Our last one, episode 184, was with Sally Cartwright, who manages the Midlands diving chamber. But she's a technical diver as well, and we heard all about
serious deep dives.
Yeah, so and she's a real advocate for UK diving.
120 plus metres and shallow dives as well. So
yeah. So have a listen.
Yeah, have a listen. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and we will speak to you in the next one, which we're going to be recording again from September.
Yep. So September we're back on, episodes coming out every Monday, every other Monday at UK noontime.
Yeah. So don't forget, leave your comments, do subscribe, and make contact if you got any questions, or anything about
Farne Islands.
About Farne Islands, you want to know, get in contact, and we'll try and answer them for you.
Yeah.
All right.
So thank you for listening. Thank you for downloading. Tell your friends.
And for right now, that was
the Big Scuba Podcast.
Now that does wrap up today's episode of the Big Scuba Podcast. But if you want to hear more from the podcast, make sure you hit that subscribe or follow button depending on what platform you are listening on. That way you will never miss an episode from us. But if you are listening on Apple Podcasts and did enjoy what you heard today, we would really appreciate it if you head to the show page to leave a 5-star rating and review. It really does help us. If you do, please take a screenshot of that review and send it to us on Instagram, and we'll give you a shout out to say a big thank you. If you have any questions for us or anything that has been mentioned in today's episode, be sure to reach out to us on any of our social media platforms or send us an email. The links are in the show notes. We will get back to you no matter what. If you have made it to this point in the episode, we both want to say a big thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode.